Today, we're going to be focusing on our transportation or surveyor series. We did a few earlier this year and in the past, but this year or this session, we got a new surveyor online on this one. So just to introduce myself, my name is Russell Calvin. I'm a recruitment analyst here with the California Department of Transportation. Been with the state and at Caltrans for about 3 years now. I graduated with my bachelor's degree from CSU Stanislaus, and we're also going to be joined by my colleague Jonathan Rivera. So, Jonathan, go ahead and introduce yourself and your dog too.
I'm sorry. She she loves the camera time. Hey everybody, my name is Jonathan. I'm a recruitment analyst as well. I work with Russell on our Division of Human Resources team. Also a graduate, so I graduated from CSU Sacramento with my bachelor's degree, and I've been with Caltrans for about a year now.
Introduce your dog too.
This is my dog. She's Dulce. Um, she's about 2 years old. Super crazy. Super energetic. I don't recommend getting a husky.
All right, so today's meeting is being recorded and will be put on YouTube. So if anybody needs the recording afterwards or would like to send it to any other friends that weren't able to make it to today's attendance, we'll be able to easily get you the recording and send that over for you. And if you can, please hold your questions for the end of the presentation today. So today we're also joined by our subject matter expert, Philip Roper. Philip, go ahead and wave hi. So perfect. So Philip's a licensed land surveyor and engineer in training, bringing a wealth of experience from the private sector as a global geotechnical and civil engineer. Philip transferred from Cabrillo College in Aptos in 2006 and graduated from Chico State with a civil engineering degree in 2009. In previous roles, Philip Roper has created soil reports, designed stormwater management plans, grading and utility plans, and erosion control plans, demonstrating a strong foundation in civil engineering disciplines. While working for project delivery at Caltrans, Philip leveraged extensive cadastral knowledge in right-of-way engineering as a transportation surveyor. Philip spent 3 years working as a field surveyor in District 5 and 3 years working as a right-of-way engineer in District 3. His current role as a surveying system support specialist at headquarters, uh, Philip is responsible for enhancing and updating essential resources for our districts, including the Caltrans, COGO, and DTM Civil 3D manuals. Leveraging Esri's ArcGIS Pro, Philip will be creating a comprehensive parcel database to support efficient schema and spatial data management. He is also involved in maintaining and updating Civil 3D palettes and templates to streamline workflows to help assist the technical mentors throughout all of Caltrans districts. So, Philip, go ahead and wave hi. Anything that we missed?
Yeah, you got it. Except for it's not a COGO, it's a COGO.
Oh, Kogo. Okay, cool.
It's
Like
like
kind of like
traversing and
like BOGO, but Kogo.
sure, yeah.
All right. So, thank you for joining us today. We're looking forward to a lot of the knowledge you're going to be able to kind of give us and a lot of that insight you're going to be able to give us with all your expertise.
Sure, yeah. Good to be here.
So on our agenda today, we'll take a little bit of a look at our department, who we are, what we do, and the opportunities we offer in transportation surveying. Philip will give us some insight on his position, how we started with Caltrans, and some cool projects he's worked on. We will then get into some detail regarding our benefits, transportation surveying positions, and how to apply. The final finish up with a round of Q&A. So please go ahead and wait till the end to ask your questions. And then once again, just wait till the end. Jonathan's going to be answering what he can inside the chat box. So he'll be dropping a couple of messages in there and stuff like that for all of us to take a look at. But let me go ahead and get ready to share a video with you guys. But 1 second. Let me ensure. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and share this video. Let me get the volume up.
Ready to embark on a career that combines technology, innovation, and a positive impact on the environment and community? Look no further than Caltrans, the California Department of Transportation. Join us as we explore some of the state-of-the-art technologies that we are incorporating into our projects to engineer the future of transportation. Safety is our top priority. We believe that using drones is a game changer in ensuring safer roads for everyone. Surveying hazardous areas, inspecting bridges and tunnels, and assessing road conditions without putting workers at unnecessary risk is a great advantage. Our acquisition of state-of-the-art UAS unmanned aircraft system technology allows us to be in multiple places at once, access high-risk areas safely, and fly instantly from anywhere. We are one of the first departments of transportation in the nation to utilize this equipment. With over 100 trained drone pilots statewide, we are revolutionizing the way we utilize technology, allowing us to make informed decisions that lead to improved safety measures and faster response times. Piloting the use of augmented reality helps us to visualize a new roadway, structure, utility, or feature in the actual dimensional space upon which it will be built. We're work zone ready with well-equipped lighting on hard hats, ensuring the visibility of our field workers is not compromised and giving us the ability to assess work sites at all hours of the day. We aim to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment while honoring our values of engagement, equity, innovation, integrity, and pride. At Caltrans, your career options are limitless. We provide comprehensive job rotation programs, mentorship opportunities, and a supportive work environment that encourages personal and professional growth. Whether you're an aspiring engineer, a tech enthusiast, or a community-driven individual, Caltrans has the perfect path to start your career. Do yourself a favor. Come and join us. You would make us better.
All right. So with that being said, in our department, opportunities are statewide. Working with Caltrans allows for diverse opportunities up and down the state of California, whether you prefer the mountains of Lake Tahoe or Yosemite, redwood rainforest, coastline such as Big Sur, or in some cases, the comfort of your own home, we've got opportunities for you. So I know I'm working from home today. Jonathan, you said you're working from home, right? And then Philip, you're working from home
I am, yeah. We're back in the office next week, and
next week.
yeah, for me, I do
That's, I mean,
Wednesdays and Thursdays. Those
that's like the perfect part of
are
it
my
too. And
two
then
office days.
like you were talking about, you have worked in a various different districts as well, like heading into what I'm going to be talking about really briefly. But we said you start off in District 5, right? You went
Yeah,
5 to 4.
Yeah, so I started out as a consultant in District 5, like Prunedale and Santa Cruz. Those were like the two, field crews that we had. There were 4-man field crews. And then I went to Marysville for a year in order to get a field surveying position, like an actual Caltrans surveying position in the Santa Cruz area. My buddy John Puffer told me that's probably the best way to do it. In order, once there's an opening, it's best to have an actual Caltrans employee rather than somebody coming in from fresh. Now it's definitely possible. I've had experiences where I've tried to get a position, somebody that's brand new ends up getting that position, whereas I have that, let's say, right-of-way engineering experience, and we're both licensed in Nevada and California. So it's definitely possible, but that would just help me, potentially come back to my hometown. And so,
Gotcha.
yeah, I did 3 years in Santa Cruz and as a field surveyor, and then I did 3 years total in Marysville in right-of-way engineering. And then in May, I transferred to district headquarters, and I'm working for Office of Land Surveys, but specifically my title is the surveying systems, office surveying systems specialist. So I kind of work with all the different softwares that we use, and we get a lot of help tickets from different districts and everything. And we kind of assist them with whatever they're using, AutoCAD, Civil 3D, in regards to COGO and DTM, which is the terrain model, making sure the contours are correct and everything. We also do MicroStation and TopoDot. Basically anything that a software would use or a surveyor would use for their softwares, will help them with and assist them.
Cool. So Caltrans split up into 12 districts. Our department starts at the Oregon border, right all the way up top with districts 1 and 2, and it goes all the way down to where Mexico begins for District 11, right around here. Jonathan, you were always in headquarters, right? Even when you switched departments.
Yes, sir. Always stayed Sacramento, Elk Grove area for sure.
Cool.
So definitely it would count as headquarters.
And then Philip, you said you're originally from District 5.
Yeah, so I have a house in Watsonville. So
Okay.
yeah, and I still have it. But yeah, that's my hometown, Corralitos, Aptos, Watsonville.
Cool. And then I'm from District 10, original, like District 10 is where I live, but I live right on the edge of District 10, and since District 3 is right here, so it makes it easy because I live in Stockton. So it's easy for me to just commute right up the road and get into headquarters, which for me, joining the state, headquarters was exactly where I wanted to be. I know I saw that we have somebody in the chat box, but what for the person or people, because I can't see the chat right now, what district are you in currently? If you are in a district within California, and what district are you looking to join? Out of curiosity. John, like I said, I can't see the chat box, so let me know what you see, if you get any responses, anything like that.
Yeah, it's still waiting on a few responses. Oh, okay, there you go. So D7, so
D7.
LA.
Now, is that person currently living in California?
Yes,
Perfect.
yes.
I wonder probably in 7, and they want to work in District 7 as well. I would assume. All right, so fun fact: Caltrans headquarters in Sacramento, right up here. Boom. Has the most employees. We have over 5,000 employees, employee workers in headquarters. This is then followed by District 4, Oakland, and District 7, with a bit over 2,500 workers. So we're right above both of these two districts, but District 7 and District 4 are definitely the next two largest districts that we have within Caltrans. All right, so our department's mission is to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment. Our vision is a brighter future for all through the world-class transportation network. Some of our goals include leading climate action, which we have been addressing by advancing complete streets and zero emissions vehicles, plotting new materials and renewable fuels, and investigating nature-based solutions along with a multitude of other strategies. We aim to advance equity and livability in all communities by adopting new approaches focused on collaborative community and partner engagements, measuring impacts on public health, community vibrancy, and prioritizing and investing in historically harmed and segmented communities. So, what makes Caltrans surveying unique? Phil, before I go to our Q&As, I'm going to touch base on a couple of these things. And if you want to kind of chime in on any of them while I'm going over some of them real quick, feel free to. But like land surveying plays a key role in accomplishing Caltrans' mission, of course. So land surveying is fundamental to all civil engineering work. Surveying provides the geospatial foundation and continuity for the planning, design, property acquisition, construction, operations, and maintenance of capital improvement projects. Geospatial survey data includes, but not limited to, roadway layouts, boundaries, land descriptions, imagery, and geodetic control data. So it's also things that that kind of the difference from public sector to private sector, right? So the multifaceted professional opportunities for our department surveyors in the field of preliminary mapping, construction, cadastral, photogrammetric surveying, GPS and geodetic control networks, like we said, We also offer surveyors online digital delivery of courses for upward mobility and preparation for licensure because we recognize that opportunity of growth of our own. So I think you and I have talked about it before, right? I think you do presentations as well, right?
Yeah, last week I did a presentation for right-of-way acquisition. So we would define the different forms of acquiring property, either in fee, where we acquire fee simple absolute, where that is our land, and it's basically once you purchase a house, on that parcel, that land is yours. And then the difference between a temporary construction easement, because when we're doing these projects, we're figuring out like what we can do or what we're required to do. We're widening a highway, we have to acquire that, in fee, which means we're taking on over the jurisdiction of that land, and we're giving them fair compensation for that land, market value, and that's what the right-of-way agents will do. So yeah, we work a lot as right-of-way engineers in cadastral land surveying, the public land surveying system. Our preliminary mapping is cost estimate maps before we go out there and do any surveying. We're kind of getting an estimate of doing the project and how much it's going to cost. Right-of-way agents will give us an estimate of, the project, and then we'll get into a different phase where we actually have the money to do the project, and we'll go out there and survey, find the right-of-way monuments, and start getting all the land net, which is basically all the property corners in the area, to kind of figure out where the existing right-of-way is. We'll use existing right-of-way maps, and we'll kind of recreate and add to the records of survey and record maps that are out there. And so it goes appraisal map, then record map, then record of survey. And we have kind of like laws and everything we have to abide by, like the Professional Land Surveying Act. We have to get our record of survey, delivered in 90 days. All licensed land surveyors have that stipulation. It's like 90 days since you put in that last corner or you're completed the field work. So scheduling is important, and working with your professional development team is also very important.
Cool. And then do you find it that with those classes and presentations, stuff like that, it has that helped a lot of people coming into Caltrans to try to get their PLS?
So the presentation that I just did was in front of the district design liaisons, so our civil engineers, our licensed civil engineers, and they just wanted to know, about the definitions that they, deal with when they're designing, because they give us the
Gotcha.
requirements. So basically, I was kind of helping them along, and we're asking questions. They're trying to figure this stuff out. Could we acquire things with prescriptive rights, which usually, all these things we're kind of trying to like troubleshoot to make sure
Gotcha.
that public is getting the best product, and also that we're doing things with the correct with the schedule and by the law and everything. So
A little bit different.
yeah, so yeah, different, but yeah, in regards to getting your license and everything, the Sacramento CLSA, that's how I got my license. I took that course. It was like $2. San Diego CLSA, I believe it's free. So, and it's kind of like a WebEx deal, and they'll teach you everything you'll need to know to pass the LS. And
That's
the
cool.
LSIT, I know that's changed a little bit. And so has the LS. The LS exam has also changed too. I think it's 80 questions. And it's not, it used to be 4 questions. You had 8 hours to do 4 questions, and you could potentially write something on there, get the right answer. But if you explain it and you don't explain it properly, well, then you don't get those questions or that question right. So I think it's a better situation. So it's somebody can come straight up the street and work in this field for 6 years and become a licensed land surveyor. You need 2 years responsible charge, 1 office, and 1 field. But it's totally possible to come in as a jet, or one of these lower level engineers or land surveyors. And if you have a good attitude, and people will work with you, you could become a range D land surveyor. It's
Gotcha. All right. So, Philip, we're gonna go into those questions now. So thank you for what you said earlier, but we'll go into those questions that we had talked about earlier, that to kind of get to know you a little bit, and like your impact with Caltrans and certain things like that, and your insight. So, what made you choose Caltrans? Like when you were, because you said you were in the private sector before, right? You're working in the private sector. So, what made you choose Caltrans and coming over to public?
So when I was at Chico State, my engineering economics teacher would tell us ways to become a millionaire. This is kind of a joke, but like he basically said you could put this money away at a certain interest rate. That's kind of what the class is. Different interest rates for projects and stuff. Present value given future value kind of situations. So, and then the other way he said was you could just work for Caltrans for 30 years and then you'll be a millionaire. I know that's technically right, but I always kind of knew that I wanted to strive towards that to get that position. But I graduated during the recession in 2009, and although I was aiming for a civil engineering career focused on surveying and design, I faced limited opportunities due to the Caltrans hiring freeze. I actually went to a like a work fair, like a job fair that was at Chico State, and I went to the Caltrans desk, and they were just like, "So do you want like an internship or something?" Which would have been a good thing to do, but yeah, they could not hire a full civil engineer or a land surveyor at the time. So I adapted my job search strategy, and I joined a land surveying union in 2011, and that allowed me to become a journeyman land surveyor. And that, in order to do that, I had to pass this exam and get into the chapter 4 of their surveying class that they offered. So I spent 2 years doing that, created topographic maps in AutoCAD, did boundary survey, construction staking. And then I left the union and became a design engineer. I did grading and drainage plans, stormwater management. And I kind of, you explained a little bit of that stuff. Then I did a soil engineering position, produced soil reports. And but in all these situations with the private sector, I felt that there was a gap in the stability and the compensation. That's not necessarily true. The compensation usually in the private sector might be a little bit higher. But for me, I was capped out at like 60K a year, where once I became a consultant, I was making more than that. And then when I became an actual employee, I was making about 86 or something. And then it just grew from there, 5% every year. And then there's also the GSIs, those general salary increases. So as a range D land surveyor, I'm now at the top of D. I got my license in 2023. And yeah, I'm making like 142,000 or something. It's whatever the top of the range is, which you'll show later slides.
And I think that's the crazy thing, right? Too. It's like, hey, and I guess I'll go further into this when we get to my next question on there. But that is the crazy thing, right? Like, so what your professor said, I mean, it's
Yeah, no, it is
kind of
kind of true.
works.
I mean, basically what I was able to do was I purchased my house in 2013 when I was working for the union. But there was a big downturn in the economy, but then, the housing market went down. So I was able to purchase that house. I just recently purchased a house down here now that I knew it was going to be in Sacramento with me and my wife. And yeah, I mean, if you look at like your worth or whatever, it's close. It's almost there. It hasn't been that long. I've been working full time for 12 years.
And
So
then not to mention your pension. When
yeah,
you do,
pension, and the pension's huge. Yeah. So I've been working for almost 7 years. So minimum retirement is 52. So I just turned 40. So I got technically 12 more years to work if I want to retire early. You won't get that much by retiring early. That's only like 1% calculated to your years worked. 62, that's 2%. So that would be double if I stayed at 62. But you can also leave and do private sector work, and then come back to Caltrans and finish your career out. That's something that our union has talked about doing, because our calculation isn't as good as it used to be. During the recession, we changed a lot of stuff. It used to be 2% at 55. My buddy John Puffer, he got 2% at 60, and now everybody's at 2% at 62. So in order for California to keep everything going, these things kind of had to happen.
Yeah.
But we definitely need surveyors, and yeah, we definitely need assistance for a lot of these projects. But Caltrans will help you assist the stuff. I found in the private sector, people would take the total station data collector and like not show it to you because they're afraid of losing their position to you or something like that. It doesn't happen at Caltrans. We bring you along, and as long as you have a good attitude and can kind of help the whole scheme with the field crew. Yeah, it's a great opportunity, and it's a great family to be a part of, or a crew to be a part of.
And I think that kind of leads into the second question that I had, which was, what do you think sets Caltrans apart from the private sector? Was like one of them, and it was a big thing for me as well because I came from the private sector heading into it. was that stability that you were talking about, right? So it's like me knowing that, you know, in the private sector, eh, you could be capped, and it's up to your employer when they want to give you a raise, if they would like to give you that raise, versus with us, since we are union backed, you know, fortunately we're getting that cost of living raise, you know, like inflation increases, and then the general salary increases. So annually we're getting our raises as long as we're performing, you know, doing what we need to do to perform. And then like I said, it happens annually, and we're still getting a 401k, and then we're getting our pension plan as well. So a lot of that money that you know, maybe we're not as necessarily competitive up front, but a lot of that money is being also saved on the back end, so that way when we do retire, it's a nice weight lifted off of our shoulders, not to mention the healthcare benefits and everything like that.
Yeah,
But
our
besides,
union,
go ahead.
Professional Engineers Union, PEG. I'm part of Unit 9. You know, our lobbyists really kind of like help to get those things through and everything, and our union dues help for that. Now, I've had the union before, a different union, land surveying union, and a lot of that I didn't feel they did as much as this union does. And every year we would get these, pretty much every year we get these general salary increases. So, and also they'll look around and be like, okay, what is range C getting? Okay, so in other departments that we are not exactly a par with that. Let's change that so where we can get range C to be a higher. So it's like they're really looking at things to help everybody, not even and just our licensed professionals, but even the range C people, to make sure that it's comparable everywhere. And it
Everywhere.
does take that union to help that.
Yeah. And then so what besides like the salary stuff, right? And the benefits, what do you think sets Caltrans apart from the private sector?
So I think it's just the work-life balance. You know, in the private sector, it's pretty much go, go, go. They're going to kind of put you in situations that you might not even be, you know, ready for, and they won't be able to teach you a lot of this stuff. You know, basically they'll kind of meet you where you're at, and they don't have time to train you. It's just like, can you perform? And if you can't perform, and really, I had situations where I'm an unlicensed civil engineer, I'm an EIT, you know, I do have design experience, but you know, and I'm getting compensated maybe $27 an hour, $30 an hour. Well, they kind of want you to be a licensed, you know, civil engineer working on your own, but at that price, at least in my experience. So, and then if you can't perform, then you're kind of like laid off. So, in regards to what Caltrans can do, they'll meet you where you're at, but they'll also work with you and then, you know, assist you in a lot of this work that we're doing. We'll have people that don't have any experience, and we'll get them through, you know, these classes, and they'll basically, you know, with the class be able to take the FE exam, the LSIT exam, and they'll pass it. We've had that, you know, people pass to become an LSIT with that stuff, and it's just amazing. I had, you know, basically 10 years experience alongside my 4-year degree, my civil engineering degree. I have an EIT, LSIT, and you know, that's when I decided to take the LS exam. I mean, you don't need to do that. You can just come in fresh. You don't have to have the degree. You just get the experience. Like, the experience is imperative. When I was during the recession working for like $15 an hour in like Cupertino, it was like, it doesn't matter that you're not making that much and it's a 1099 and you're not getting that much money and you have to drive all the way out there from Watsonville, because the experience is imperative. You'll get compensated for it if you can learn all that stuff now. Just sweep floors, my dad would say, in the area. Don't even worry about, you know, because at some point you're going to get hired on and you're going to be doing a lot of these projects. So that's kind of the main thing, that like the private sector was more, you know, there's not as much stability. And then I also feel like impacting public infrastructure, which is really cool. We've got a lot of projects in the Big Sur area, and we've basically reopened Highway 1. And, you know, I have family that's in, you know, the Southern California, and they were able to come up and we go camping in Big Sur every year. So they were able to use that highway because we opened it up in time for that.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me feel pretty good. So
Yeah,
yes,
that was
the
a big
ability to,
big ordeal because they had the landslide, right?
we've had multiple landslides. There's been so it was there was a bridge that we had to repair in 2018, I believe, and then there was another project, the Mud Creek slide. But the one that I worked on a little bit of that, pretty much just one day, and then but the Rat Creek slide was one that I worked on exclusively, and that was a huge one. I'll talk about that, for the ones that I'm like, proud of. But yeah, with Caltrans' abilities to, compensate for the EIT, the LSIT, which is also the FE exam, and the PE and the LS, yeah, they don't really do that in the private sector, at least from my experience. They'll kind of keep you at the area that you're at and growing there. It's possible, but I don't know if you'd be compensated.
Got you. So I didn't ask you this earlier, but what led you to your career in surveying? Like, what made you kind of choose surveying? Because surveying's to me as an outsider, surveying's a little niche, I guess you could say. It's not as visually out there to some people. Not a lot of people know much about it unless you know somebody in the field of surveying. What made you choose land surveying?
Yeah, land surveying, nobody really knows about it. My father didn't know about it. He wanted to be an architect, and he started doing the classes, and then he saw land surveying and experienced that one of the classes, and he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do forever now. And then he became the civil engineer as well, because there's a law, if you're a pre-82 civil engineer, you're also a licensed land surveyor. Well, my father was a licensed land surveyor, passed that exam, and then licensed civil engineer as well. I think he got the civil engineering one first. I can't remember. But yeah, so basically I started kind of with my father. So when I was 12
Mhm.
years old in 97, he took me out to Monterey, my great grandmother's property, and did a boundary survey. And so ever since then, I've kind of been, fascinated by the process and defining property lines. And I could see that I was just like building, the foundation of like what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. And in 2000, my father left a position at a surveying and civil engineering firm in Watsonville, and he started his own business, Roper Engineering. So he's licensed, dual license, land surveying and civil engineering. He quickly became, or I quickly became involved in his work. I started as a chainman. I was pretty young in high school and everything. So,
Mhm.
but I would assist in, field measurements, learn the basics of surveying. And then over the years, when I graduated high school, I became an instrument man. And then we purchased a robotic total station, a lot like a robotic total station. And then I was kind of able to become a party chief. I was a one-man survey crew, so I wasn't really supervising it, basically creating the topographic mapping myself. And so I was at the time going to Cabrillo College, and then I transferred to Chico State from Cabrillo. And I was pursuing a civil engineering degree, but in the summers I was continuing to work for his company. And so using the information I was getting from the civil engineering classes and the surveying classes, it was heavy civil engineering. I really only took 2 surveying courses, but I was able to, use that into, the type of work that I was doing with the boundary surveying and with AutoCAD Civil 3D. That's kind of what we were learning at Chico State, my last year that I was there in like 2008, 2009. So when I graduated from Chico State, the economy was still struggling from the recession. Many construction-based companies, and my father didn't have very much work either. And so I'll kind of do private, part-time work for companies that were in like this on the Central Coast and in the Bay Area. But because it was kind of a downtime, I was basically trying to get my EIT, and it took me a couple times to pass it. But then I passed it in 2010, and then I took the LSIT and I passed that in 2011. And right when I passed the LSIT, I got my results. I started full-time work with that union company. And so ultimately, the early exposure to land surveying and the hands-on experience I gained from working alongside my father set me on that path, for surveying. And I've continued to build on that foundation ever since.
Got you. Cool. So, like you were saying earlier, you kind of said that there's a project you kind of wanted to highlight. I was going to ask you that. What project are you most proud of or currently working on? What was that project that you said you wanted to kind of discuss?
So yeah, there's 2 projects I want to talk about. And in regards to being a licensed land surveyor, you need 1 year field responsible charge and 1 year office responsible charge. So I'll do the same thing. I'll talk about 2 projects I'm most proud of in regards to the office in the field. So the first one is the Rat Creek Slide Project. This was a major highway rehabilitation effort that occurred along Highway 1 in Big Sur and involved a landslide in January of 2021. It's caused by a plug culvert in Rat Creek. The landslide caused a large section of the highway to fall into the ocean, creating a massive chasm. And I was a part of the team in Santa Cruz that was mobilized to respond to the situation. So our surveying team took the lead on this project using a combination of SX10 stationary scanning and conventional surveying methods to create a topographic map of the area. We laid out a control network that was crucial for the construction staking required to implement a new culvert and rebuild the highway. The engineering team came up with a truly ingenious plan to address the site's challenges. They proposed a temporary wall structure made from timber and metal I-beams, which became the foundation of the system of interlocking 20-foot diameter metal culvert sections. So these sections were carefully jacked into place. So they used that wall to jack those sections into place. And they were closely monitored by us in regards to the alignment, that they were kind of on course. So we would have, we'd go down into that mining section, we'd place our reflectors down in the mine, and then we would shoot those locations to see if it was going to be able to pop out in the location that they designed for. So what made this project memorable was the level of coordination required. The construction process was complex and unique. The hydraulic grading machine with movable arms was used to dig into the newly constructed embankment, and the dirt was removing a rail system that placed it directly onto, so removing the rail car system. So basically we had like a rail car system that would take the dirt, just like an actual mine, up and then, up to the grade. And once we were able to break through, that, dozer portion of the culvert, it was basically a culvert that had like a dozer that was like taking all that dirt and then placing it into the rail cars. A helicopter was able to pick it up and then take it up to the elevation of the highway grade and drop it down. So basically the construction crew was able to fill that chasm with 45,000 cubic yards of fill, and we were able to compact it, or they were able to compact it in lifts. So every, like, say 8 inches or 12 inches, they'd have to compact, and then they get more dirt, and then they'd compact. And so this is what, the soils engineer, designed, like how we're going to stabilize, that chasm. So, and it's definitely no small task doing that type of work. So yeah, we basically were able to finish it in 86 days, and it was ahead of schedule. We had, the governor there, we had our district director there and stuff. It was a really big, awesome thing that I felt very proud of. Now on the office side, one project that I'm particularly proud of is the Highway 162 rehabilitation project, where I served as the lead right-of-way engineer. The project involved rehabilitating ADA ramps, pavements, and drainage systems along the highway. One of the main tasks was to create an appraisal map for the area, which required extensive boundary resolution work. And the research and field work involved in establishing the right-of-way were significant. There were multiple design changes during the project, and despite the changes, we were able to deliver the appraisal map on time, along with the deeds and the RON packages, the resolution of necessity packages, which we'll do when we go into condemnation. So yeah, what I learned from both of these projects is how crucial communication and teamwork are in ensuring project success. Coordinating with the field surveyors, engineering, construction crews, and having a really good construction crew. I mean, they were amazing to be able to do what they did, and then going up and down, that slope was unreal. Yeah, so basically just working with your team is imperative, and yeah, it was definitely a situation that I was very proud of.
Cool. So last question I have for you before we get on to the rest of the slides is, what advice would you give to recent or upcoming graduates who are interested in joining our department?
So I would say the main thing is attitude. Being like stoked to be there, and as a young surveyor, you're there to learn. You're there to kind of like impact and assist the person that has the most experience, which is the party chief as a field surveyor. or if you're in the office, that's going to be the office chief. So learn all you can, read your duty statement, make sure that you know your duty statement really well, especially for the interview process. And then we have a lot of manuals that we can do as well, and we can study and everything. So that will also assist you. So I would mainly say build your technical skills and develop good habits for your career growth. What I would do is create a journal of your daily tasks and everything, and write down kind of what your supervisors are telling you to do. That way you can, do it like you hear it once, and then you can do it the right way the next time. Like having to keep on doing it and not kind of like understanding like these various, because Caltrans has specific orders of operations for a lot of tasks that we do, and creating how-tos, like your own versions of how to do certain things in certain softwares or certain field procedures, which we do have. I mean, and we have a training coordinator that's working on things like that, Caltrans Connect or Caltrans. I can't exactly remember, but we're doing something that's it's a software that people will be able to kind of go and learn things, at will. And as long as your supervisor allows it with that time, if you have some downtime, you can kind of figure out what field procedures are going to be and what you need to do for, right-of-way acquisition or something like that. Or like, you can read the right-of-way manual in order to like kind of figure out what are these processes that you're going to be doing when you're creating the appraisal map. So I would say when you're preparing for the interview on your first, for one of your first jobs for Caltrans, is to make sure that, you read your duty statement like backwards and forwards, what you're going to be expected of. And then the manuals that I spoke of in regards to my position, the surveying manual, the right-of-way manual, the COGO Civil 3D manual, and the DTM manual. And they kind of like provide a clear framework of how Caltrans operates, and knowing how Caltrans operates is kind of imperative for these positions. Now, my current role, I'm actually the one that's updating the COGO Civil 3D and the DTM manual for 2024. We're currently have one for 2020. We have these courses and these teachers that are teaching those versions, those exercises in the COGO Civil 3D manual and the DTM manual. And on Fridays, so it's a week-long class. Friday is a class that me and my fellow employee, Bruce Baker, will assist on. He does the DTM Civil 3D portion. I'll do the COGO and Civil 3D portion for Chapter 5 and the appendix for the COGO Civil 3D, and he does the DTM appendix for that course. So basically, we have somebody come in and teach the Civil 3D portion, and a consultant. And then we'll cater to those Caltrans Civil 3D portions. Like for COGO, it's the Vesti block and the sheet set manager. So we'll teach that on Fridays. So, but in regards to just getting on board Caltrans, you don't have to get a land surveying position. You don't have to get a civil engineering position. You can get, a secretary position or a maintenance position. And you can transfer into those positions once you're in. Like starting your position at Caltrans is imperative. Like if I was able to start in 2008 or 2009 when there was that hiring freeze, instead of trying to like work in the private sector to get the experience and then finally being a part of Caltrans as a consultant and then getting hired on as a full-fledged Caltrans employee, I mean, that's many years that I could have had for my pension. So really, we're kind of in the situation right now. It's not necessarily a recession, but I think it's pretty difficult to get a position right now, kind of everywhere. There's a lot more interview processes, and then you might not potentially get the job. So if you can just get in right now, even if it is just a secretary position, that might be the best thing you could ever do, because then you get 8 years that you've been in. You can transfer in as a land surveyor, and then the calculation is basically your largest 3 years salary. So if you are a junior engineer in training, or you start out as a range D land surveyor, the retirement benefits are going to be the same for those two individuals. If you come in as range D, or you come in as a jet and work your way up to range D. So, but always attitude's imperative. there might be situations that you're working with your supervisor and you're like, hey, that's not fair. And it might be true that it might not be fair, but making sure that you are a team player and you can get through these things alongside with them is very important. We have the Caltrans vision, and that's basically to make sure that we have a safe transportation system, and that to always kind of have the view for the trees, view the forest for the trees, and make sure that we are aligned with that. So I know people have personalities and stuff, but really working alongside with them, working with different generations and stuff. And even though you're going to be younger, like the most important thing is just to not be like focused on other things. Be focused on the tasks at hand and be working alongside to help them, with the Caltrans vision that you should be a part of.
Gotcha.
And so, final take on this is to learn from everyone around you, especially those that have more experience, like I was stating. And then what resident engineers will do is they'll take notes on what happens on the site. So they'll say like whatever material was dropped on, a class 2 aggregate base. We've got so cubic feet from here, and there was 8, trucks that came through, and everybody that was on site was doing this. They'll log a lot of those things down. So if you could be doing that as a field surveyor, this is what we did today. We traversed through this many things. I set up the gun over here, and then our party chief was the one that was creating the staking notes. You would be really the go-to guy, and you're going to kind of, after 2 or 3 years, you might be able to be looking towards getting that LSIT without having any experience at all, because you've drawn up everything, you've been reading the manuals, and you know exactly what Caltrans needs to do to get these projects through.
Yeah. All right, so I just wanted to go ahead and thank you once again for giving us all your insight today. I'm going to touch base on a couple of things that you said in these last couple of slides. We do have about 8 minutes left. So we spoke about the benefits that Caltrans has to offer, that work-life balance, the medical, dental, vision, flexible work schedules, and career development. Those are kind of like some big things for us right there. Um, with like we said, that retirement and everything that Philip was saying, plus the medical dental. I know, Jonathan, you have a link, right, Jonathan, to the Cal HR salary and benefits package, because we do offer a couple of other things as well, including student loan forgiveness. But Jonathan, do me a favor, drop those links inside the chat box real quick for me.
Okay, I just included the first link is for our benefits page, and then the second one is a link to our student loan forgiveness.
Cool, because those are a couple of the bigger things that we do like to offer, including that retirement, which I'll go into it on this next page. As Philip was saying, you can come in as a range A, bachelor's degree in surveying, and work your way up to a range D. As you can see here, as you work your way up, you get paid more, but it does require some experience. Or you can come in as a range D right off the bat, as Philip was saying. When you do retire, like he was saying, it's the last 3 years. So even if you came in at this range, but ended at this range, if you put in enough years at this range, this is where your pension would be based off of. But as you can see here, professional growth just continues, and it doesn't just stop here at range D. You can go a little bit further than that with supervisors and stuff and principals and stuff.
And you could also come in as a junior
As a
engineer.
yep, junior engineer technician, and work your way up through there.
Yeah,
So the big
without the
question,
LSIT.
yep, the question that we always have is how to apply, because applying for the state is a little bit different than what it is for the private sector. So you would need to go ahead and create an account on calcareers.ca.gov, which is the account that every state agency posts their job vacancies on. You'll take the transportation surveyor exam or the junior engineering technician exam, whichever job that you're interested in, you have to take that exam. And it's not really like a test, it's more of a self-assessment. They're more just asking you if you have the right skills to meet the minimum qualifications. Once you pass that test, you'll go ahead and apply for the job. If you guys have any questions about these tests, go ahead and reach out to us at askrecruitment@dot.ca.gov. Jonathan will drop that in the chat box for you guys. That's we want you guys to reach out to us because when you take this exam, if you fail it, you have to wait 6 months to a year to retake it again. So we want to ensure that you guys are understanding and answering questions correctly in a way that it gives you guys the ability to actually pass the exam if you qualify for it. Because some things that they ask for are years of experience and doesn't necessarily mean paid experience because you can count internship experience, you can count coursework experience, you can count certain types of experiences that most people don't think that they can count. So before you take that exam, go ahead and reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to clarify any questions so that way you guys have the best chance possible when going ahead and applying. And then lastly, I want to give a couple of more minutes to go ahead and answer any questions that you guys might have. So if you guys do have any questions, Jonathan, let me know if you see anything, drop into the chat box. If anybody has any questions on anything in terms of application process, hiring process, anything like that. I'll give it about another minute or so to see if we have anything, and then we'll wrap up if not. And I do know we will be also having this session put up on YouTube shortly. We do have our team here getting ready to put that up on YouTube once this is over. So that way we can send it out to anybody if they do have any questions or if they want to review it, we can go ahead and have them review it as well. Oh, it looks like you gave everybody all the information that they really needed.
Yeah, we aren't receiving any questions. Oh, actually, one just came in. Roman is asking if we have any recommendations on a place where we can study for the PS exam.
That would be more of a question for Philip. Phil, do you know of a place where?
Yeah, so in the beginning, I was kind of explaining a little bit about the CLSA, the California Land Surveying Association. And what I did was I took the course from the Sacramento chapter. I'm a part of the Monterey chapter, but the last time they did a course was like, I think 2010 or something. I could be wrong about that, but the CLSA in Sacramento, I think they do it every year. And but the San Diego version, I believe, is free. So if you
I
go to
think
the
he's in.
website,
Do you know of any in LA? Because I think he's in LA.
well, it's all online. So
Got you.
my buddy Kevin Lundy, he passed, and he did both. He did the Sacramento one with me, and then he did the one in San Diego. I think they're on different days. And what it is just every week, it's like 3 hours. They'll go over, different topics that are on both the PS exam and the state specific. There's two exams. One's the national for the LS, and one's the state specific for California. And so yeah, basically they'll go over everything. They'll go over everything that you need to know for California and everything for the national. There's a couple things that you national type stuff such as warrants. We don't do warrants in California. That's basically we have title insurance, so we don't really do that.
Do you have the website for it?
If you just kind of go into the San Diego, let's see, I can type it in here and I can put it in the chat.
Jonathan, double check, make note of this real quick to see if we can get the, oh, well, he's going to drop it right into the chat as well.
Okay, yeah, there's the San Diego chapter CLSA, and then there's LS material. Let's go to this. Okay, that's not it. Education. Yeah, this is probably the best site here.
Cool.
Okay, so that'll get you, and it's free. This is the 2023-24 LS exam review.
And then
Yeah,
Jonathan, go ahead and copy and paste that as well, and then send it out to Roman after this, so that way we can ensure that Roman gets that proper.
and so most likely they will be updating this page. This is for the 23-24. And so it was kind of like last year, and it started on December 7th. So most likely they will be doing this again. And yeah, it'll be in really just a month, less than a month. So if you want to start studying, just reach out to them.
Cool. Jonathan, any other questions you're seeing in there real quick? I know we have about 1 minute left.
That seems to be the only one we received.
Perfect. So I just wanted to go ahead and wrap up and thank everybody for joining today's session today. As I said, we will be recorded, or it has been recorded. It's going to be posted up on YouTube. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us at askrecruitment@ca.dot.gov. And then that's pretty much it. You guys can go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day. Give you guys about a minute back of your time, but we want to thank Philip as well. So